good or bad, I just lay down in my bed, fuck it.
Hey. My screen recording 3, 2, 1. Make sure this done. Alright now, cause there's some videos I just did that I didn't even start the screen recording. I'm not gonna front. But hey man, I got something real decent for y'all, man. Y'all can go out watch him, but yeah. YouTube starting to fuck with me now, cause now they giving me good videos, some real hitters that can really do numbers that I can react to. Right here is just athletes who sold they sold for paycheck. We're gonna see. And I feel like I'm gonna find my niche in this shit. It's gonna be exposing these motherfucking actors, athletes, rappers, anybody who's an actor. You know what I'm saying? Let's see, man. They talking about my man Big Diesel, man. Big Diesel been the character I heard. Like, if you really know him, he's just like a character, like a big ass baby. Type shit. Get straight to it.
Professional athletes often look for other ways to make money when they step off the court or field, but they don't always make the best decisions in that area. So let's examine the following athletes who may have just sold their souls for a paycheck. In 2003, the Cleveland Cavaliers were one of the worst teams in the NBA, but then they wisely drafted LeBron James. Not only was he a once-in-a-generation talent, he was also an Ohio native, making his selection even more meaningful for Cavs fans. But after playing in Cleveland for 7 years, he decided to ditch his home state and join the Miami Heat for a contract worth about $110 million. Obviously, money talks, but the way James announced his departure was what made it really controversial. He sat down with ESPN for a live television event called The Decision, which lasted no less than 75 minutes and ended with him saying,
I'm gonna take my talents to South Beach.
Heartbroken fans burned James' jerseys, and NBA Commissioner David Stern called the TV special ill-conceived. Cavaliers owner Dan Gilbert deemed it narcissistic, and it was criticized by many others for being in bad taste. James later returned to Cleveland in 2014, only to leave once again in 2018 for a $153 million.
You know the thing about that, I actually remember when it happened. I wasn't even watching it though. I was across the street at the park hooping, and then the nigga who at the rec center who worked the field, he was talking to me about it. He was like, "Oh, I'm about to get off. I'm about to go watch LeBron's decision, or whatever." And he was saying, "You're not gonna be not." And like I remember him leaving, and he was saying, "You're not gonna go watch it too." I said, "Nah, I'm gonna keep hooping too. I'm trying to be like Bron one day." Fast forward like 10 years later, I'm not Bron, and Bron's still balling, man. But I don't think what they trying to say, like, this what makes him this white soul, this soul. This, like, y'all gotta, don't get it twisted with selling your soul means, and don't let anybody tell you what's what, you know what I'm saying? I think this is like a channel trying to push a narrative type shit.
Contract with the Los Angeles Lakers. Before he took his big payday, though, he did leave the Cavs with a pretty sweet parting gift in 2016, their first NBA title ever.
And that's a clear example of how he sell his soul. You could try to say he did it silly, dirty, or whatever, but then no, he came back and won a championship for it. Wasn't his promise.
Many people were confused to see ex-NBA star Dennis Rodman buddying up with North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un. When he first traveled to the country with 3 Harlem Globetrotters in 2013 for a Vice documentary on basketball diplomacy, it was a bit strange. But then he went back to visit the notorious Supreme Leader a total of 5 times in 4 years. He even tried to broker the release of an American hostage, all while insisting that he wasn't there to be an ambassador. We'll probably never know for sure why Rodman had a sudden affinity for Kim, but maybe it makes a little more sense when you consider that his trips were sponsored, including by one company that sells marijuana cryptocurrency. The money must have helped him, especially since his post-NBA years haven't been kind to him financially.
And when you listen to shit, well, pay attention to the words. Like that whole last sentence, I feel like they just said some bullshit, but I wasn't really listening, you know what I'm saying? So when someone kind of tell you something, bro, listen to their words and listen to how they saying them fucking words, alright? Alright, straight to it.
After earning $27 million over the course of his career, he's now reportedly worth just $500,000 following a child support lawsuit worth over $800,000 and bad tips from his financial advisor. One of the most high-profile examples.
I was kind of excited to start over. My family just moved to Atlanta, and
Profile examples.
And like Dennis Rodman, like I feel like Dennis Rodman a character himself too. So to the mainstream media, so to the elites, he feel like he a good target to use. He easy to portray his image. It's easy to portray his image. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm saying that right, but Dennis Rodman, he ain't like how he sell his soul again. I'm still not convinced on.
Of all time of a sellout athlete would have to be Lance Armstrong. The pro cyclist shocked the world in 2005 when, as a 7-time Tour de France winner and well-known cancer research advocate, he tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs, though he denied it at the time. By that point, he'd made a ridiculous amount of money in his career, reportedly $125 million at his peak. After Armstrong retired, a 2012 report by the United States Anti-Doping Agency accused him of running an illegal doping program while he was a pro cyclist. From there, everything started tumbling down. He lost major sponsorships, stepped down from his cancer nonprofit Livestrong, and was stripped of his Tour de France titles. Amidst the scandal, Armstrong also had to pay $20 million in damages for several court cases before he was hit with a $100 million fraud and conspiracy lawsuit by the federal government, which he later settled for $5 million. As the disgraced cyclist admitted to Oprah Winfrey in 2013, he would probably spend the rest of his life trying to earn back trust and apologizing to people. International superstar race car driver Lewis Hamilton has been openly vocal about his stance on environmental issues. In 2000,
Lance Armstrong, I heard, I think I need to go watch a documentary on him. Or the 30 for 30, there's a special on him. I'm not really in tune with what Lance was. I know I heard it, he cheated and shit. Using, the steroids part, I'm just speaking on it. So that part, I heard in cycling, everybody was doing it to try to get a competitive edge. Or maybe not. Who knows really.
2019, for example, he posted on his Instagram stories, "Extinction of our race becoming more and more likely as we overuse our resources. The world is a messed up place. World leaders either uneducated or don't care about the environment at all. But as the saying goes, he who lives in a glass house should not throw stones." Hamilton quickly received criticism for his comments, considering that he still drives and travels globally for Formula One, which has a huge carbon footprint. And he even signed a 2-year, $100 million contract extension with Mercedes in 2018. In response to the criticism, Hamilton claimed to reporters that his team was aiming to become carbon neutral. As he explained, "It's not the easiest because yes, we are traveling around the world. We are racing Formula One cars. Our carbon footprint, for sure, is higher than the average homeowner who lives in the same city. But that doesn't mean you should be afraid to speak out about the things that can be for a positive change." There's also the matter of Hamilton's relationship with Monster Energy, as he also previously inked a massive deal to create a signature drink with the company. But this might not have been the wisest sponsorship deal, as it's no secret that some energy beverages have been linked to potentially harmful side effects. In a long-awaited
I am in so much debt.
62,000.
Shit like that. If you fall for some shit like that,
In a long-awaited boxing match
that bitch wasn't in no debt. Fuck you saying?
that was later criticized for being overhyped, Manny Pacquiao lost to Floyd Mayweather Jr. in 2015, after landing far fewer than the 800 punches that experts speculated that he needed to win. Some observers believe that the two fighters delayed the bout to maximize the demand and raise their compensation. Mayweather practically confirmed this when a reporter accused him of avoiding the fight until he had to give in to public pressure. He responded, "Why don't you just say I was smart? 5 years ago, this was a $50 million fight for me, and it was a $20 million fight for him." Sports reporters criticized the two for selling out the sport. Nevertheless, Pacquiao drew $120 million for losing the fight, while Mayweather walked away with $180 million. And that's not to mention the extra $1 million Mayweather reportedly cashed in for selling a spot in his fight day entourage to the Burger King mascot. Being the highest paid professional baseball player in the 70s wasn't quite enough for Pete Rose, whose gambling habit proved to be too tempting to give up. In his 2004 autobiography, he admitted he was betting on his own team, the Cincinnati Reds, while managing them. But while he was straightforward about his mistake, he wasn't too apologetic about it. As he wrote, "I'm sure that I'm supposed to act all sorry or sad or guilty now that I've accepted that I've done something wrong, but you see, I'm just not built that way. Sure, there's probably some real emotion buried somewhere deep inside, and maybe I'd be a better person if I let that side of my personality come out, but it just doesn't surface too often. So let's leave it like this. I'm sorry it happened, and I'm sorry for all the people, fans, and family that it hurt. Let's move on." Sadly, the extra cash Rose got probably wasn't worth the fallout. Despite all his achievements over the course of his MLB career, he was banned for life from baseball in 1989 and was denied eligibility for the Hall of Fame.
How could someone who loved the game so much?
That's a good question. I mean, there was just something missing other than the game competition.
When Reggie Bush was drafted into the NFL in 2006, he arrived with a lot of hype. While some criticized him for not immediately living up to expectations, nobody was expecting what happened mere months after he joined the New Orleans Saints. In September 2006, Bush was exposed for receiving illegal gifts from sports marketers, such as hotel stays and a rent-free home for his family while he was a college player at the University of Southern California. While the question of whether or not college athletes should be compensated remains a hot-button issue, gifts or payments of any kind are still against NCAA rules. Pete Carroll, USC's football coach at the time, claimed that the school didn't know about the residential situations violating the rules, but the acceptance of these gifts nevertheless put a massive stain on Bush's career. While Bush voluntarily forfeited his 2005 Heisman Trophy award, he later publicly stated that he felt that college players should be paid legitimately by the NCAA. In 2018, he told Business Insider, "The universities are making so much money off the athletes. They're selling your likeness, selling your jerseys, bobbleheads, whatever else, blankets, whatever else they can sell, while you were there for those 3 or 4 years. The kids deserve more and should be given more. They should at least be compensated. I don't know what the number is, but it should be something." By the time of basketball legend Magic Johnson's 1991 retirement for the NBA, he had become known for many successful business deals. Around that time, Entertainment Weekly reported that he was raking in as much as $12 million a year for endorsements, but many of these deals were supposedly in jeopardy. If that's true, it may help us to understand Johnson's next and decidedly less successful endeavor as a late-night talk show host. The Magic Hour started airing just 2 years after Johnson officially left the league, and it was in no way as Hall of Fame worthy as his playing career. While fans were used to seeing Johnson dominate on the basketball court, the show exposed his weakness when it came to TV presenting. Within 3 months, it was off the air. Despite what we can only assume was a large paycheck, the embarrassment might not have been worth it. Since then, Johnson's continued to grow his lucrative empire by investing in countless companies, at one point owning 31 Burger King restaurants. Larger-than-life NBA...
I just want clear skin. Proactive.com. They have 3 different systems, combining gentle skincare with the most effective acne treatment for you, with clinically proven ingredients and tested by...
Yeah.
Larger-than-life NBA star Shaquille O'Neal has made some eyebrow-raising choices when it comes to his career outside basketball. So when he announced that he was joining the board of directors for Papa John's in 2019, it wasn't too surprising, except for the fact that the company's founder, John Schnatter, had been ousted for using the N-word on a conference call the year before. Still, O'Neal committed to the deal, not just as a board member, but as an investor too, telling USA Today that he planned to purchase as many locations as possible. He also stepped forward as the face of the brand on 9 of the restaurant's locations by putting Shaq in their phone numbers and showcasing his footprints in their marketing. Interestingly, while O'Neal has helped Papa John's rebuild its public image, another athlete, former NFL star Peyton Manning, dumped his franchise ownership just days before the 2018 scandal happened. However, as O'Neal explained his decision to the undefeated, he told CEO Steve Ritchie that the only way he would be involved is if they had some diversity in their leadership. He called Schnatter's workplace behavior uncalled for and unacceptable and noted, "I want to be the one to help cultivate a new culture where everyone knows they are loved and respected."
When I did this deal, I was thinking about the 800 franchisees. Just think about it. They're my neighbors, they're your neighbors. These are people that work hard, they put up their capital.
You would think an athlete who needs to maintain a healthy body might be more mindful about endorsing fast food, but that didn't...
Yeah, like Shaq the same nigga who took his shoe brand to Walmart, you know what I'm saying, and sold all them shoes. I know they not high class, whatever, they was the coolest, but my nigga, they was affordable type shit for the hood, you know what I'm saying? Shaq ain't no sellout, he just, if anything you can say about Shaq, he just a goofy ass nigga.
and stop a young LeBron James from taking a McDonald's endorsement in 2010. The basketball legend later made a hilarious slip-up in a 2015 press interview, which cast the Golden Arches in a less than favorable light. After a reporter asked at what age he started caring about his body and staying fit, he responded, 24. I ate McDonald's my first couple of years in the NBA. I didn't stretch, I didn't ice, it didn't matter. I was 18, I could do whatever I wanted to. However, he was quick to recover when a reporter gently asked how often he eats McDonald's now.
Every day. You don't listen to every day. Every day. Yeah, every day. Every day. I just had it this morning. Be a good egg and sausage McMuffin.
While James stepped away from $15 million in endorsement money from McDonald's in 2017, it wasn't because he suddenly had second thoughts about endorsing fast food. Instead, he jumped over to Blaze Pizza, which he discussed in an interview for The Uninterrupted.
Potential that we can make if we just put the time and effort into it, exceeded, what McDonald's would be guaranteed me for over the next 4 years.
At the very least, it sounds like the deal made solid business sense. Check out one of our newest videos right here.
Nicki Swift. So she put this shit together herself, a white girl. My nigga, don't listen to this shit. That's this whole vid. This bitch ain't convinced me of shit. Like, this whole vid, like people like this, Nicki Swift. Fuck out of here, man. Hey, I'll see y'all niggas in the next for 16 minutes. Oh fuck, it's gonna be a long upload, so I'm probably gonna upload this bitch tomorrow or something. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all niggas in the next. I'm gonna keep working on this shit.